Avengers! Assemble.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of Fandom Unchained. Today we're going to take a look at Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 8. I do have a playlist where I've broken out every single individual episode, all 73 of them, but I decided to put one out where I do them all together. Now, this is just going to be a very quick synopsis. I'm going to run through this as fast as possible, so bear with me. Let's start with season 1. We start off with Fat King Robert and his crazy wife Cersei arriving at Winterfell with her brother Jaime Lannister in tow. Eddard Stark and his family greet them at Winterfell and welcome them with open arms, but Robert is there for one reason only. He is there to replace his hand. He wants Eddard Stark to take the job, and he does. Cersei and Jaime Lannister, brother and sister, are caught having sex with each other up in one of the towers by Bran, who loves to climb. Jaime finds no other way to stop this or fix this, but he pushes young Bran out of the tower. Problem solved, or so he thought. Eddard heads to the capital with the king while dropping his son Jon off at the wall. His bastard son will now be a brother of the Night's Watch. Tyrion Lannister is on his own mission back from the capital after stopping by the wall. He is going back to the capital and he is captured by Lysa Arryn. We meet Lysa with young Robin Arryn sucking on her teat, and yes, he's too goddamn old. Lysa tells Tyrion he is to die, and he requests a trial by combat, chooses Bronn, a sellsword, to fight for him. He does win the fight, and ultimately they do walk off like gangsters. We meet the Targaryen family with Daenerys being married off by her brother Viserys to Khal Drogo in exchange for an army to take over Westeros. She quickly falls in love with her new husband, and they are gifted 3 dragon eggs on their wedding day. But her overzealous brother Viserys does cross the line, and he gets the golden crown that he deserves by Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo is mortally wounded, causing Dany to call on a witch to fix him, but doesn't work. He dies. Funeral pyre, Dany puts the eggs in the funeral pyre, joins him, comes out, rocking some dragons, baby. Woo, dragons. King Robert is mortally wounded and is dying. Eddard Stark does discover a secret that none of Robert's children are actually his. It's Cersei and her brother have had all those children together. Ooh, incest. Eddard Stark is wounded. He is captured by Littlefinger. Eddard Stark is then beheaded at Joffrey's order in front of his daughters and a roaring crowd. We meet King Renly Baratheon and his wife-to-be Margaery Tyrell. He thinks he's the next heir to the Iron Throne by succession, but his brother Stannis has something to say about that. Stannis uses the Lord of Light and magic and creates a demon baby with Melisandre, and she sicks it on Renly Baratheon, killing the would-be king, one less person in the way for the Iron Throne. Brienne witnesses and vows vengeance. Stannis' ships approach Blackwater Bay, but because of Tyrion Lannister, they are blown to smithereens, including Davos' son, by wildfire. Dany and her remaining Khalazar wander the desert until they find shelter, and ultimately Dany's dragons are stolen, and then she uses and commands them to cast fire, killing the thief, setting the thief on fire. Jon and Halfhand are captured by wildlings on the wall. Jon is set to kill Halfhand. Jon ends up falling in love with his fiery captor and joins. We meet the Whites and the Night King. Margaery goes from one king to another, leaving Renly's dead body and joining Joffrey. Arya is uncovered and thought to be a boy outside the capital. Sansa deals with lots of shit but pushes Littlefinger's gross attempts away. Robb Stark is on the move and captures Jaime Lannister, ultimately to be set free by Catelyn Stark and returned to the capital to exchange for her daughters. Brienne takes Jaime to get the girls back. Theon returns home to the Iron Island to be pushed back into taking down Winterfell himself, and then kills 2 farm boys and pretends that they are Bran and Rickon. All the while, Hodor and Asha are getting the boys off to safety. Robb marries another woman behind Walder Frey's back, even though he was promised to his daughter. In return, Walder Frey, along with Roose Bolton, murder all of the Stark men, and Catelyn and Talisa and Robb, and Red Wedding. Oh no. Arya and the Hound arrive at the twins only to find out that they are too late. Robb and everyone are already dead. Loras Tyrell, even though promised to Cersei Lannister, screws a local boy. Lysa Arryn gives more booby milk to her son. Dany's in need of an army and she recruits the Unsullied. She only had to trade away one of her dragons. And then, Slaver's being a douche, Dracarys, dragon fries the slaver. She's got all of them back again, and an army. She takes Yonkai along with Daario Naharis and the Second Sons. Her inner circle expands with Grey Worm and Ser Barristan. While en route to the capital, Jaime Lannister has his sword hand chopped off. Oh shit. Not too far after that, Theon gets his dick cut off. Ramsay Bolton. Jon Snow is joined with the wildlings and it climbs the wall. Like, that's a long way up. Once the opportunity arose, Jon Snow would defect and head back to Castle Black. Ygritte would leave a couple arrows embedded in him for payment for that. Joffrey is poisoned, and Tommen becomes the new king and takes Margaery Tyrell as his wife, so she's been passed to multiple kings now 3 times. Cersei Lannister tries to manipulate everyone and puts the High Sparrow into power. Loras Tyrell, Margaery Tyrell, and Cersei would all be arrested. Cersei Lannister would have to do a walk of atonement where she would walk naked through the city while everyone screamed shame, horror, everything you can think of, and threw shit at her. Jaime recruits Bronn to go to Dorne with him and save his daughter. Eventually they are captured and released, and Myrcella is set to come home. But right before she leaves, she gets a kiss from Ellaria, which is covered in poison. Myrcella dies. Dany recruits Tyrion to be her hand. He's reluctant but says yes. And then we get a major loss and we lose Ser Barristan, a great fighter, a great warrior, a great friend. The Sons of the Harpies attack during the tournament. Dany and everyone are surrounded, but Drogon drops in and saves that ass. Dragons for the win. But after the dragon's tired, it ditches her in a field. She's found by a horde of Dothraki and surrounded. Theon, aka Reek, may not have a dick. He does have some balls, though, and helps Sansa escape her rapist husband. And now they on the run. Arya gets a ride to Braavos, joins the Faceless Men, and has her first target, but decides to kill one that she wanted from her list. She killed the wrong person. She is punished. She is blinded for this. Stannis and his army attack the Boltons at Winterfell, but are ultimately pushed back. Stannis would ultimately be killed in the woods by Brienne, and she gets her payback for Renly. Jon and Tormund go to recruit the rest of the wildlings to fight against the Whites, but they are overrun by the Whites. Many are killed. Jon then returns to Castle Black and is branded a traitor and killed by all his men, including little young Ollie. Sansa and Theon are saved by Podrick and Brienne. Take her back to Castle Black, where she is reunited with her brother Jon after he was brought back to life by a Lorelai crazy witch, Melisandre. They make a plan to take back Winterfell and kill Ramsay. The Battle of the Bastards commences after Rickon Stark, who was running to his brother, ran in a straight line, got shot by an arrow, run a goddamn serpentine pattern. God, Rickon. Jon's army was being overrun until Littlefinger's army shows up to save the day. Jon then beats Ramsay until Sansa says no and feeds him to his fucking hounds. Arya is given her sight back. She's given another target, ultimately decides not to kill Lady Crane, sending the waif after her, trying to take her out. Arya sets a trap, kills the waif, cuts her face off, returns to the House of Black and White, and says, "Peace out, I quit." She continues with her revenge path and sets a trap for Walder Frey, killing him. The Hound joined the community, but they are killed, and he is given revenge by going Paul Bunyan on a motherfucker. Dany is brought before the call of this group, but ultimately flexes her powers, burns these motherfuckers alive, and claims their armies. Dragons. Euron Greyjoy returns to the Iron Islands, kills his brother, tries to claim the throne, as his niece and nephew, Yara and Theon, get the fuck out of there and go and join Dany. Cersei Lannister is called before the High Sparrow, along with all the people she hates. So instead, she keeps her son at home, doesn't let him leave, and blows those sons of bitches away. Wildfire, baby. Tommen sees everything that happened and cannot live with the guilt, jumps to his death. Tommen's dead. Olenna Tyrell then makes some revenge plans with the Sand Snakes. Blackfish tells Jaime Lannister to shove it up his ass. Sam and Gilly have dinner with his family. Dad's a piece of crap. Sam steals the family's Valyrian steel sword, and they get the fuck out. Bran uses the God's Wood, travels back in time as the Three-Eyed Raven, and he sees who Jon's parents are. Daddy's a Targaryen, his mommy's a Stark. The Whites find out where Bran and his crew is. They end up running away. Hodor holds the door. We find the tragic story that Hodor's name is Hold the Door, until it fucking morphs into Hodor. Bran fucked his life up. But he is a hero, sacrifices himself so they can get away. Arya uses her skills that were taught by the Faceless Men, cuts Frey's face off, wears it, and poisons the entire Frey army, and laughs. Euron destroys Yara and Theon's fleet, captures Yara. Theon jumps off the boat like a little bitch. The Lannisters march on Highgarden. Lady Olenna takes poison instead of being killed, and then reveals that she actually killed Joffrey herself. The army would keep rolling. Dany would roll in with some dragons, burn them all alive, capture most of them, and then we get to see Sam's brother and father burned alive because they refused to bend the knee. Euron shows up to the capital with a present for Cersei. It is Ellaria and her daughter. Then he leans in and tells Jaime, "I'm gonna fuck your sister tonight. She's gonna love it." Down in the dungeon, Cersei has Ellaria and her daughter chained up, kisses her daughter with a poison kiss so she can watch her die. Cersei then takes a high-interest loan from the Bank of Braavos. Jon meets the dragons for the first time. It's kind of cool. We know who his parents are, so it works. Jon and his crew go behind the walls to find the Night King, get surrounded by a bunch of whites. Dany comes to save him, ultimately to lose a dragon to the Night King, and he brings it back as a white. They all jump on as Benjen Stark fights them off, and they escape on the dragons. Dany's crew brings proof of whites existing. Cersei is still a bitch. Bran meets with his sisters by the Godwood and reveals that Littlefinger betrayed their father. This is spoke about in front of everyone. Arya goes up and delivers the killing blow, cutting his fucking throat. Sam's trying to become a maester, working in Old Town, cleaning up poop, and he meets Jorah Mormont, who's covered in grayscale now. Sam thinks there's a cure. He tries to help him. He does help him. And then him and Gilly leave that fucking place. Bran explores deeper into Jon's parentage, finding out that they were legally married and that Jon is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Jon then approaches Dany's room, goes in there, and goes balls deep into his aunt. Yes, Targaryen incest. Jon's reunited with Bran. Sansa gives Dany the dirtiest fucking look. Then Bran warns them all that shit is going down. We gotta get ready. Jon and Arya reconnect by the Godswood and have a little bit of a brother-sister moment. Jon and Dany go on a dragon ride. Jon almost falls off. Then they go and have a make-out session in this beautiful little area. The Golden Company arrives at the Red Keep as backup for Cersei's crew. Euron Greyjoy and Cersei have a little talk back and forth, and then a little bragging, and then they hook up. Qyburn meets with Bronn and gives him a mission to go kill the Lannister boys up in Winterfell. Theon then saves his sister. She headbutts him, knocks him the fuck out for being a bitch in the first place, but then they reconnect and it's all good. Jaime Lannister shows up in Winterfell and has a very odd long look at Bran, who he pushed out a window. Jaime Lannister is brought in front of Sansa, Dany, and everyone, and they are tearing him apart until Brienne actually stands up for him. He knows he's done bad shit. She stands up for him and defends him and says he's here to help save Westeros. Let his other bullshit go. We need all the help we can get. Gendry made a custom weapon for Arya, and she loves it so much that they smash like rabbits. Sam gives the Tarly family sword to Jorah Mormont to use so it can actually get proper use in this fight. Dany joins Jon down in the crypts at Winterfell, and he reveals who his parents are, that he is her nephew. Sansa and Tyrion join everyone down in the crypts while everyone else prepares for battle, for what is coming in the night. The White Walkers crash through and there's a giant battle raging all throughout Winterfell. Melisandre helps out, calls upon the power of the Lord of Light, and erupts a barrier and fire all around the castle. We get to see a pretty bitchin' dragon fight, Top Gun style. Then we get to see little Lyanna Mormont go out like a bad little motherfucker, and she goes up stabbing a giant white in the eye before she dies and he dies, taking him out. Good on ya. Jon and Dany keep flying through the sky. Dany sees the Night King and torches the shit out of him, but nothing fucking happens. The Night King approaches the Godswood where Bran is. Theon rushes him, gets killed quickly, and then Bran's gonna be next. Arya flies through the air. The Night King senses her, catches her in mid-air, stopping her dagger from stabbing him. She drops the dagger, grabs it with the other hand, and stabs him, killing the Night King, eliminating everyone, eliminating all the bad guys, including the dragon. Poof. There's a gigantic funeral pyre for everyone that died, including Jorah, Lyanna Mormont, and many others. During an after party, Dany pulls Gendry up in front of everyone and proclaims him the head of House Baratheon and gives him his father's name. Now, Lord of Storm's End. Brienne and Jaime finally fuck. Awesome. Jon meets his other siblings under the Godswood and reveals who his parents really are and what his name is. Aegon Targaryen. On the way to battle, their boats are wrecked by Euron Greyjoy. Dany destroys all of his fucking boats, but damage is done. People are gone. Missandei has disappeared. They find Missandei. She's being held by Cersei. Cersei then lops her fucking head off in front of Grey Worm and Dany and causes crazy shit to happen because they're pissed. During the attack, Dany ravages the city while Grey Worm and his men just destroy everyone. Even at one point, all the Lannister soldiers drop their swords. That doesn't fucking matter. Grey Worm starts wrecking everyone, throwing spears, killing everything. Dany's doing the same, torching the entire fucking place, even though the bells of surrender are ringing. Euron Greyjoy and Jaime finally face off down below the city as Jaime sneaks in. Jaime is stabbed a couple times, but ultimately kills Euron Greyjoy himself. The Mountain and the Hound finally have their big face-off. The Mountain is straight up Darth Vader zombie shit going on, but ultimately they are both thrown off the tower to their death. Tyrion then goes through the rubble and finds his brother and sister and cries deeply. Then he walks up in front of Dany standing in front of her army, throws his fucking handpin down and says, "I quit." She says, "Take him." Jon then meets with Dany alone in the destroyed throne room, gets close to her, and ultimately stabs her in the freaking heart, taking the tyrant out after she's murdered so many. This pisses Drogon off, who drops in, torches the Iron Throne, grabs her body, and flies the fuck away. All the remaining lords of the houses of Westeros all get together, and they ultimately elect to make Bran the Broken, first of his name, the King of Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms. Sansa has something to say and ultimately becomes the Queen of the North, and Bran is the King of the Six Kingdoms. Bran sits down and updates the Gold Cloak's registry of Jaime, saying that he died serving his queen. Jon returns to the Wall, where he finds Tormund and Ghost, his buddy, and then him and his friends decide to take a trip beyond the Wall and see what's happening. As you can see, guys, a lot of shit went down during Game of Thrones season 1 through 8. Obviously, I did not touch on everything. I did jump through some of my favorite parts and some of the biggest hitters in this series. I love Game of Thrones so much. If you haven't already, check out the playlist linked right here. You can also check out every single one of our episodes that we broke down individually. So there's a lot of content to check out, but I wanted to do this 1 through 8 just rundown, and I had a lot of fun filming it. There was so much that I elected to leave out or bring in. Just like I said, some of my favorite moments I mentioned. So guys, let me know what you guys thought about Game of Thrones as a whole and this video. I really enjoyed making it. Did you guys enjoy watching it? What was your favorite part of this series? Let me know down in the comments below, guys. I will see you next time right here on Fandom Unchained. Make sure you subscribe to keep up with all the videos we put out every week, and join us in August for House of the Dragon. All right, guys, peace out.